Hi everybody, Marty with Bearcat here. Today we're going to walk you through the assembly procedure for our SC5627B machine. First thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the plastic and start removing some sections of this pallet and remove the machine from the crate. Alright guys, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. What we've got to do is just going to remove the main components from the pallet. As you can see, we've got our owner's kit, we've got our tires, and we do also utilize the pallet to bolt some of our other main components into the pallet. We've got our infeed chute. Over there you can see we've got our hitch pole. And of course we've got our discharge tube also bolted to the pallet. So like I said guys, there's no right or wrong way to do this. We just got to get everything out of there. Alright guys, every Crary Bearcat machine is going to come with an owner's kit. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open that up. In the kit, you're going to find the keys for your brand new machine. Got a checklist of all the hardware that should be included. Your owner's kit, along with your registration card, your engine owner's manual, all the hardware we're going to need to assemble this machine. A couple of decals. Instructions, discharge pin, and any other components that we're going to need to assemble this machine. So you've got our discharge rings, axle braces, so with that said, I always like to go through and make sure I've got all my hardware before I start. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up and get everything organized to make the assembly job go a lot smoother and easier. Guys, you want to note that we do use a 9/16 lag screw to hold our components in. Alright guys, in order to lift this thing out of the crate, I've got one main strap coming around the belly, or the housing of our rotor, and then I've also got one other strap behind here. So you can see there's a lip back here that's going to protect the strap from sliding off. Again, it's a nice balance point, and then while I had the machine up in the air, I found it convenient to put our tires on right away and just get those started, and then go ahead and tighten them up. Once I get them tightened up, we're going to come back and we're going to make sure that they're torqued to 75 foot-pounds. Alright, now that we've got our wheels on our machine, I'm going to go ahead and lower this to the ground. Okay, while we assemble it, it's never a bad idea to leave your straps a little bit taut. You can never have too much safety. Alright, the next part of our assembly is that we're going to get ready to put our hitch pole in. We're going to use the two 3/8 by 3 1/4 bolts, the washer, 2 Nylox nuts. They're going to run through the side of our bar, and then of course our 3-inch, the flat washer, and the nylons is going to sit through our front here. Just kind of a quick tip. It's easier to use that stand as a brace, and as you can see, we release the toe chains, cut our strap, dropped our leg, and that pin sits just under the bar. It keeps the leg from coming back. It's going to help us support the hitch as we assemble it. I'll go ahead and leave that in there loose so that I can have the adjustment to slide in my bolts and adjust this if necessary. Alright guys, when I tighten this up, I'm going to start with my front bolt. It's going to pull the hitch up and seat the correct position for my 2 side bolts that we just put in. Once we get everything nice and tight, we'll come back into the torque wrench and make sure everything's torqued to spec. Alright guys, another thing to remember when we're putting in the hitch pole, it's also time to start our wiring harness. To make sure we get plenty of room. The wiring harness is supported by this P-clip. It goes on that front bolt that we just put into our hitch assembly. Alright, the zip ties are included with the owner's kit. Alright, the next part of our assembly is that we're going to attach our hitch pole plates around the axle. This attaches our hitch pole to the axle. We're going to use our 2 1/2-inch by 3 3/4 bolts, 1 washer, and our 2 Nylox nuts. Okay, now moving on, you see we've got the entire hitch pole assembled. I'm going to go ahead, lower my hoist, remove my straps, remove my jack stands, and then we're going to get ready to install our discharge tube. And just like always, we're going to do a quick sub-assembly on our discharge tube, set that up, and get ready to put that on. Alright, there we have it. We've gone through and we've double-checked our torque specs and all the bolts that we've installed on our axle plates all the way through our hitch pole. Let's go ahead and get ready for that sub-assembly on the discharge tube. As always, I'd like to start with our rear discharge ring. The smaller ring goes on the inside between the larger ring and the flange of the discharge tube. Our discharge pin holder, I've already inserted the bolt to get ready to put that assembly together. Sure, I like to start with that one. And then go ahead and just do a light assembly at this point. We're just going to snug everything up and then come back and tighten everything up when we get the discharge tube back on the machine. As you can see, that cable is supported by the center bolt. The second position is just a holding position. And of course, our lock position. The key is to the bottom side there. And again, the reason why we put that back discharge tube on, maybe you've caught the Unleashed video, and a quick tip, because that way when we set it on there, this back brace is going to support the weight of this tube and let it hang off there while we install our second brace, or spacer, excuse me. added extra safety measure. Keep that thing from sliding off. I like to lock that into place while I install my front rings. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and give this thing a couple pumps of grease. See, we've got a grease fitting located on the backside, denoted by our grease marker tag. Go ahead and just give it a couple squirts of grease. That's going to help the assembly rotate a lot easier. Now that we've got our discharge tube installed, we're going to go ahead and get ready to put on our Infeed Hopper. So let's go ahead and get ready to do that. As you can see, it's kind of difficult to see in there. It might be easier to have some assistance at this point. The carriage bolts go with the head of the carriage bolts facing inward. You see our lock pin slides through a tab and a slot. I had to loosen these up. This is snug to adjust that assembly up so it can accommodate that slot. Now that I've got everything adjusted, we'll go ahead and get everything nice and tight. And there you go, guys. We've just assembled our SC5627B from the crate. It's almost ready to ship. Keep in mind, all the Bearcat products do not come with a battery. So in the next video, we're going to cover our battery. We're going to check our engine oils, and we're going to get this thing out in the field, and we're going to do some shipping with it. I hope this video helped you guys out today. If you have any questions, feel free to get a hold of us. We'll definitely help you out. Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our other videos on our channel to learn more about Crary Bearcat products and get tips from the pros like me, and see our equipment in action.